Hello, Capricorn. Thank you so much, as always, you guys, for being here. All right, Cap. So, looking at your first week of December, you pulled hope, transition, and revenge. The depth of the pain from your experience is being felt in a way that is almost empowering here. And it's a different type of feeling and experience for me. Like, I haven't felt this kind of power to make change in a while in my own life, and to see it pop up in your cards, it's like, wow, man, it gives me hope. So hope is talking about your ability to create possibilities in seemingly hopeless and difficult situations, and I think that that is being explained by revenge. But transition, this is talking about moving from one phase of your life into another. It says the presence of this card indicates change and a transition between two chapters of life, inevitable endings and new beginnings, and the integration of a more expanded cycle involving letting go of the past to make way for new growth and transformation. But the depth of how you have been wronged is felt in an empowering way, but it's coming from anger. You're having to find hope in a situation that seems hopeless. But by doing that, that is creating a transition away from this type of feeling of somebody needs to be held accountable. Something has to happen. It has to happen by my hand. So revenge says it's time to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing, end them. And it says there is no white night, but there can be a black storm woven by fallen angels. And I feel like that's kind of where you're coming from. This is going to be for those of you who have experienced the loss of hope. Now it is being returned in such a way where there's this transition that's going to be happening in your life, where you're no longer confined by the anger that may have been motivating you to seek accountability, if that makes sense. It's like getting away from that and making the transition to being more empowered to affect change in your life, where you actually feel hopeful about what is going to happen in the future. Judgment, man. Sorry, guys. This card, it's such a heavy hitter for me, because it really drives home the way that we see our past situations, our past selves, the way that we've responded to our experiences. This is the call to rise above that and to see things from a more holistic standpoint. But this is the huge wake-up call. The wake-up call to look at the judgments that you've been placing on a past situation. But the empowerment, man, it's almost... It feels a little bit intoxicating. But the transition of the way that the energy of the anger that you are feeling and the way that it's being used, I think, is where this new hope is going to be coming through for you. It's like no longer constantly going over this idea of, you know, I'm going to make this situation right. What was done was wrong. It's too much focus on that, and it may have been pulling you away from, you know, effectively creating change out of like hopeless situations. Your overall, the Ace of Swords, who else had this as the overall? I always ask myself that, but I can never remember in the moment. But the Ace of Swords being the overall, it's like instant clarity. And it's through that clarity that we see a new beginning in the way that you think, the way that you communicate. It's seeing, speaking, and knowing truth. And this is beautiful to have as the overall, especially if you have been repressing feelings of being wronged by a specific person or situation. In the past, the Lovers, interesting. Okay, so the very significant union in choosing love, no longer choosing temptation, right? But this could be about a very significant relationship for some of you. But this decision that you're making in love is changing in a way where there's more clarity. Now, for some of you, you may be getting, finally some truth and understanding that may be helping to solidify a better union, not just with another person, but what is going on within you as well. In the present, the Three of Wands. So when I look at this, first of all, it's active waiting. It's waiting for things to come into you. But I always say with this one, you should already know what to expect because you made the choice to act. You kind of set this into motion. Now you're starting to see it come back to you. But there's very much this feeling with the Three of Wands of, expanded horizons and this need for a transition, for a more expanded experience, right? This may be you waiting for the right moment to go after something completely different, but it starts with you being open to it. Now, with the Lovers preceding this, for some of you, you may be looking at what else is available to you. You wanting a very significant connection or a significant relationship. We're not tempted by the things that, we used to be. There needs to be depth to the relationship. But this clarity kind of kicks in for you, and I think that you might start opening yourself up to other possibilities that have always been there for you, but you may not have allowed in, if that makes sense. Future conditions, the Eight of Pentacles, putting in a lot of hard work, really putting in the effort here, and being very focused on the work that needs to be done. And it's like as soon as the door opens and there's this clarity and this understanding, you immediately start putting effort into something that is available to you that may start to come through, that you may not have been aware of before. Because I'm looking back at hope and it talking about finding hope in hopeless situations. Relationships, significant relationships, may have been difficult for you, but the way that you are coming through from your past experiences is like this understanding of wanting something that's more like solidified. Because again, we're talking about choosing love, not choosing something that is fleeting or the temptation, right? But this strong effort starts to be put through here. And new clarity and understanding, I think, is what's going to drive the amount of effort that you're willing to put through when it comes to, significant relationships, or even the union that you are creating within yourself, choosing to love both parts of yourself, right? And when you do that, this may be where the door starts to open to other possibilities that you may not have been aware of. And it's through those actions that there's this new beginning that's happening. Your best path to follow, the Ace of Wands. Clarity, truth, and honesty is going to be the main focus in creating this new beginning and this new experience for you, in love specifically. But this being your advice, it's like, if you're going to start something new, let's bring the passion back. That's what I feel like. You have to have the passion to want to have something completely different come into your awareness or into your experience. But I also feel like be excited, Cap. Be excited, because where things may not have been clear, you're finally getting that. You're finally getting that understanding, and there may be this passion being reignited within you. But you're willing to put in the effort here. The hard work is not an issue. Whatever effort needs to be put into a new relationship, or this new beginning, whatever the experience may be, I feel effortless. Like it's not an issue for you to immediately start putting in tremendous amounts of effort and work. And I love that that's coming through for other people too, because this isn't the first time that I've seen this, right? And there's this really strong feeling of like, yeah, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to do what's necessary. Because the new beginning is more important than the experiences that you've had before. And I like that, we're talking about, with the Lovers being the past, it's not about looking at something negative from the past and how it's changing. You've already been through that. The change is being affected now. And that's because you're pulling in this want to have something, again, it's like, it has to be more solidified. There has to be, this really strong connection here. It can't be superficial. But it starts with the connection that you have with you. And having, that internal perfect union. Not just between, the divine masculine and feminine, but between you and your shadow too, right? Like, I don't know why, but ever since Sagittarius, shadow work seems to be important, right? Like facing those parts of yourself and having that kind of integration where the shadow isn't rearing its ugly head because there's no attention being given. I think that you're fully aware of how that's affected connections that you have had in the past, and it's completely changed the way you're coming through. The Seven of Pentacles being in your environment. I love that a lot of people are going through this, like reevaluating things from a practical standpoint. These are the results that you have gotten. And if this is all you are seeing for the effort that you put through, I think that this is where the door starts to open for other possibilities to come through for you, where you may have been so shut off by difficult situations. Now, something may be coming through, or somebody may be coming through, even with the Lovers, that is going to affect this kind of hope that's being restored within you, right? And there's this excitement and this passion for something new, a new experience. But reevaluating all the things that you've been through and what you've gotten from it. The Eight of Swords is hopes and fears. This is you fearing that you're just going to stay stuck in a situation where you continuously put in tremendous amounts of effort and nothing seems to move forward. The other thing, though, here too, is we're talking about your thoughts trapping you in a certain pattern. And if we're talking about a better union with yourself and your shadow, there needs to be, this understanding of how your thoughts keep you stuck. Because in the present moment, there is this opportunity for something completely different to come into your awareness. But this would make sense, right? I don't want to be stuck in these situations anymore where you're only getting to see only so much come out of it. And compared to the effort that you put through, right? Like you need something more significant. But this makes sense. And then the clarity, though, this is where, those kind of thoughts are like completely broken apart. And you're no longer stuck in that kind of pattern of thinking. But I feel hopeful now about something coming into, your awareness and the beautiful new beginning that it creates for you. But passion being what drives you. Not just clarity and understanding, but there has to be a passion behind it, right? And then coming out the Four of Swords, interesting. So in this is, I think, you, besides needing to have, this kind of recovery from being in situations that have kept you stuck in the same kind of thoughts, you're kind of going silent here. It's not really about you specifically needing to communicate anything, but if you do, it's for the intention of clarity, but you don't really have anything to say after that. Now, the other part of this, though, is that the effort that's being put through for you starts with recovery. Needing to kind of like take that time out. And it may be that there's this understanding of how much effort you've been putting into situations where, you're not getting what you're expecting out of it. And this is where you start to kind of like rethink what you are willing to put your effort into. But the thing is there's still very much this feeling with the Eight of Pentacles where like there's no hesitation. As soon as the door opens, especially if this is something that you've been closed off to, and it's what you are pulling from the past, is wanting to have this significant union, right? That's not an issue. It's not an issue for you. You have no problem with putting in tremendous amounts of effort. But if we're talking about refining your skills and talents, first there needs to be this clarity and this kind of like moment of truth for you, where you understand where wasted effort has been put in. But that may be why there's this like advice of needing a passionate kick in the ass in order for you to, put in the right amount of effort, because the reevaluating is making you open up to other things. Because if you were getting what you were expecting, you wouldn't be looking for other options or even opening up to them. But this may be the transition that you needed. Wow, man. The Four of Wands, beautiful. It's beautiful. And it may be because of a connection that things are starting to change for you. The Ten of Pentacles, even better. And then the Four of Pentacles. Okay. So when we're talking about rest and recovery here with the Four of Swords, we're doing this not to relieve ourselves from any kind of like painful situation. I think for you here, it's recovery from the difficulties that you've been through that may have created this loss of hope. And now there's this transition to something beautiful where you're no longer looking at how you've been wronged or hurt. There's this new foundation that's being built. There's this celebration going on. There's love there. It's beautiful to see. But it's enough for you to want to take a time out. Like, I need a minute, right? I got to clear up some stuck thoughts. And with the Ten of Pentacles, again, solidified, right? Long-term, secure. And this is what you are opening up to now, because the reevaluation that's going on is showing you that, yeah, you haven't reached this point yet. But the foundation is going to be built here. And it's creating something very long-lasting for you. And then with the Four of Pentacles, I'm not letting go of that. Right? Like, I'm not letting go of that. And it's not that you're not willing to give, but there are parts of you that I think, though, that you're going to be working with in future conditions where you're like, I understand that these are the things that I'm holding on to. I just need a moment for recovery. And it's because you don't want those things to continue, to leave you feeling like you're stuck in hopeless situations, right? It would make sense. But the effort, right? Like the effort, I love that this is what people are showing up with. Like, I get it now, and I'm willing to do what's necessary to put in the work. And it doesn't feel like hard work because it's effortless. Tranquility, transformation, again, like you're going to need a moment of recovery, I think. And it's funny, it's like all of a sudden everything starts to go really well, but like, okay, there's so much excitement and so much passion that I just need to take a break for a minute. And then the fourth chakra, the heart center. So tranquility leads to this transformation where your heart begins to open again. It's beautiful. Meditate and contemplate. I think Scorpio got that too. And then show the world the real you. This is the one that's been popping up a lot. There was 1 week where it was constantly, it's a time to give rather than take. Now it seems to be show the world the real you. This is you being able to express who you are authentically, but it's coming from this period of recovery from thoughts that may have been blocking you from seeing the clarity of what is available to you. But it starts with this kind of like reevaluation that's going on. But the right kind of connection may really kick in the passion for you to want to work really hard. But that may be where the idea needs to change. It's like you're not hesitant about putting in the effort. It feels effortless, but I think a more, directed kind of approach to the effort that you put in is what's going to be important. But you're going to have to give yourself time to recover from situations that are causing this kind of transition for you. But I feel like what you're coming through with from the past is such a good way to be coming through on this. Because essentially what you're doing is you're telling the universe, hey, look, I'm done with that. I'm done with feeling hopeless. I'm done with, putting in wasted effort. I'm open to now what else is available to me. But it's for your highest good though too, right? Beautiful reading. Beautiful reading. Whatever new beginning you are choosing to experience, where we are bringing love big time into the picture, right? You will know as soon as you start to feel the passion for what you are experiencing. And if you have some leg back from past experiences, be sure to give yourself a time out before, you fully communicate what is going on within your heart. But beautiful reading, Cap.